Hello again and welcome back to the channel. Today I am very happy to present my new guide to the third TOEFL speaking question. Now in this guide I am going to begin by describing how this question is actually constructed and what you're going to see on test day. I will then continue by giving you a template that you can use to easily and effectively answer this question. And I will conclude by actually walking you through, step by step, the creation of an answer to a sample question. Along the way, I will give you a few grammar and vocabulary tips that I think will make your answer a little bit more sophisticated and will hopefully increase your score. So, with that out of the way, let's get started by actually talking about what the question looks like. Now, I do want to stress that this question is the same every single week. There are a few tiny cosmetic changes in how it's put together, but generally speaking, ETS, the creators of the TOEFL, use a very strict formula. If you understand that formula, your job of answering it will be a lot easier. Some students don't understand this formula and they suffer for that reason. Don't be one of those students. All right. So the way it works is that first you will see a short reading that is either an announcement posted on campus, an article in a campus newspaper, or a letter to the editor of a campus newspaper. The announcement is most common. The letter to the editor is least common. It will describe some change that is happening, or it will describe a proposal of some change. There will be two reasons given for this change, or two reasons given for the proposal. I want you to understand that whether it's an announcement, whether it's an article, or whether it's a letter, you're answering the question in the exact same way using the template I'm going to give you in a moment. After you read that, you're going to hear two students talk about what you just read. One of the students will agree or disagree with the contents of the reading. He's going to give two reasons for his support or his opposition. These reasons usually support or challenge the specific reasons given in the reading. Now, sometimes maybe they won't directly challenge the exact reasons, but it doesn't really matter. You can use the template to easily answer the question, even if it's a little bit different than normal. After you read the announcement and you listen to the conversation, you're going to get a question on the screen that will look a bit like this. The woman expresses her opinion of the university's plan. State her opinion and the reasons she gives for stating that opinion. Could be the man, of course. And this part might be changed to proposal. They might use the word change. No matter, that's just cosmetic. You're answering the question in exactly the same way, no matter what. Note that you will be given 30 seconds to work on your answer before you start to speak, and you will be asked to talk for 1 minute. Today, I want to actually walk you through the answering of a specific question, which I've taken from the TOEFL Quick Prep Collection Volume 1, specifically on page 23. I can't give you the reading and the conversation in this video because it's owned by ETS, but you can access them for free on their website. I will post a link in the video description to the PDF file. Once you get that PDF file, look specifically for the question about sculpture courses being discontinued. Before we get to the template and before we get to the sample answer, we need to talk a little bit about taking notes. It's important to take notes from both sources so that you can answer the question effectively. But what kinds of things should you record in your notes? Well, take a look at the left side of the screen. First, you're going to take a few notes about the reading. And there's 3 things I want you to get. First of all, I want you to very quickly note what the actual change is, or what the actual proposal is. In this case, the change is that the sculpture program will be eliminated. Next, I want you to get the 2 reasons for this change. In this case, the first reason is a lack of interest. The second reason is a limited budget. Now, as I've said here, the reading is the least important part. So don't waste your time getting really detailed notes. You're going to talk about the reading for just a very short time in your answer, so just get what I've asked for here. On the right side of your screen, you can see the notes I got about the conversation. Now, the conversation is the most important part of your answer, so I want you to get as many notes as you can. You won't be able to get everything, but basically, you should try to get everything. Start very easily by noting the student's opinion. In this case, the man opposes the plan. That's an easy note to get, thankfully. Next, you need to get his first reason. In this case, his first reason for opposing the plan is that enrollment is low because students are busy taking required classes. After that, you want to get notes about all the added details regarding this reason. In this case, I got 2 details. I wrote, these are painting and drawing classes. I also got, so just change the requirements. You might only get 1 of these details. Maybe you'll get 3 details. Just get as many as you can. After that, you want to get his second reason. In this case, his second reason is that they can deal with the budget problem by hiring a part-time professor. The extra details I got are that they could ask a professor of some other subject to teach it, as they have secondary fields. I also wrote that some painting teachers are also great sculptors. Now, I also want to emphasize here that the man's reasons are direct challenges to the reasons given in the reading, as you can see. Here the reading talks about lack of interest, and here the man talks about lack of interest. Here the reading talks about a limited budget, and here he talks about the budget issue. I think if you understand that the questions are put together this way, your note-taking and your answering will be a lot easier. So do keep that in mind. So how do we actually answer the damn question? Well, that is a good thing to move on to next. If you've seen any of my videos, you know that I love templates. A template is a structure for your answer. A template gives your answer organization. A template makes your job easier, and I think even a template will reduce the number of grammar mistakes you make. Now, some teachers will tell you that you'll get punished for using templates. That's not true, and I base that on actual conversations and interviews with TOEFL graders. They're not given a list of templates from the internet that they should penalize students for using. Use the template. It will make your job easier. If you want more proof, just look at the 2017 editions of all my videos, and you'll see that there are so many students saying, hey, I used your templates, I didn't do any other studying, and I still got 27 or 28 points. Hey, they work. Anyways, here's the template for the third speaking question. It has 5 points. It begins by stating the main point from the reading. And you're going to want to say something like, according to the announcement, or article, or letter, and then you just fill in the blank with the details from your note. And then you're going to give the reasons from the reading. This is because, fill in the blanks from your notes. And then you give me a transition. The man does not think this is a great idea for 2 reasons. Give me the first reason, give me the second reason. And use the exact phrasing. Go ahead, it's okay. Let's put this into use with a sample answer. Here's what I came up with. According to the article, the school's sculpture program will be eliminated. I just followed the template. Then I gave the reason from the reading. This is because there isn't much interest in it, and the university's budget is limited. As you can see, I just listed the 2 reasons from my notes. I used the transition. The man does not think this is a great idea for 2 reasons. First of all, he argues that enrollment is low because students are busy taking required classes, not because they are disinterested. These mandatory classes are mostly about painting and drawing. However, if they are changed, more students will take sculpture classes. And finally, I gave the second reason. Moreover, he mentions that the budget problem can be solved by hiring a part-time professor. Additionally, many current instructors have a secondary field, so one of them could probably teach the class. In fact, some of the current painting teachers are also great sculptors. I simply followed the template and used my notes. That's all you have to do on test day. I've highlighted, though, a few things I did to make my answer a bit more sophisticated. One technique I always suggest for all of the speaking and the writing questions is to avoid repeating words too much. For example, I said required, but I didn't want to say it again, so I changed it to mandatory. It can be hard to avoid repeating words, but do your best. Likewise, I used a few transitional phrases, some discourse phrases like however, additionally, and in fact. These phrases are words that will give your answer a bit more organization and a bit more coherence, and I think they will increase your score. Lastly, you can see I used a conjunction. So, I used that to create a nice compound sentence. That's an easy way to make your spoken grammar a bit more sophisticated and hopefully increase your score. I'm going to talk a little bit more about these techniques on the next screen, but, well, actually, let's get right to that. Here are some general guidelines for this question type. As I said, I want to see discourse phrases. Use things like as a result, consequently, moreover, therefore, however, in addition, in contrast. I'm going to post a link in the video description that will give you a list of even more of these. Secondly, spend only about 10 to 13 seconds talking about the reading, at most. You just need 2 sentences. Don't waste time here. The conversation summary is the most important part of your answer. Focus on that. Next, if you are a slow speaker, cut the reason from reading part of the template. That isn't super important, and you could probably save 2, 3, maybe 4 seconds by doing that. Lastly, as I said, I want to hear a few compound sentences. You can create these using conjunctions like so, but, or and. As I always say, these videos are not grammar lessons, but I will put a link in the video description that talks a little bit more about compound sentences. And that is basically it. Lastly, though, I do want to talk a little bit about rumors, gossip, and tricks. How might you be fooled by this question? Well, first of all, I don't think you are going to be fooled. This one seems mostly unchanged. ETS has kind of tweaked the test a little bit, but this question seems pretty much the same as it has always been since 2006 when the IBT was introduced. So your textbooks are probably accurate as far as practice questions go. But one possible trick is this. Keep in mind that the reasons given in the conversation can be split between dialogue lines. And what I mean by this is the man might start talking about the first reason why he disagrees with the plan, and then the other student will say something, and then after that, the man will continue talking about the first reason. The trick, of course, is that they want you to think that he has switched to the second reason just because of that interruption, but that's not the case. The second reason will be later in the conversation. And indeed, maybe there will be an interruption in the second reason as well. So don't think, oh my God, there's 2 reasons, there's 4 reasons. No, there's only going to be 2. They just might be broken up a little bit. Next, could the student have a mixed reaction to the proposal? Well, I've heard this from some students and teachers, but frankly, I think these reports may be incorrect. I think maybe the test taker was just confused by what they heard. But no problem. If you get something like this, just change the transition to the man has mixed feelings about the announcement. Easy enough. That accommodates the change. But only use this if you're 100% sure that indeed they have a mixed reaction. Lastly, if you have heard or seen anything new on this section of the test, please leave a comment below. I will check it out, and maybe I will include that information in the 2019 edition of the video. All right, I am going to leave it at that. I think that covers everything, but if you want more of this kind of stuff, please visit me at TOEFLresources.com. At that site, you can find a text version of this guide, which might be a bit easier to study from. You can also find guides to the writing section of the test, and you can sign up to have me evaluate your work. I will correct all your mistakes. I'll tell you what you're doing right and wrong, and I will do my best to estimate how you would score on the actual test. Though if you have any quick questions, please leave a comment below. I always try to answer everything. I even try to just respond to general comments from students who have used these templates. All right, I will leave it at that. Take care for now, and I will see you next week, I hope. Goodbye.